Welcome to the video. I'm going to get to the point and take off this plane as fast as possible. This is a Space Chicken Glider Mark 2 Mark 1.1. Had its parachutes configured really badly, and I am actually doing a second take of this video, so let's hope for the best. Anyway, this is basically the Space Chicken, but it's air launched proper way. This is made to go up high altitude, way too much power for its weight. At the moment we take off, we release the landing gear from there, and we then become a very high performance plane with not very much fuel, so height is our friend. Then after that, when we get up really high, we separate from down there, and, this whole the whole plane will then go down under parachute quite dramatically, and it's actually made to land in the water to protect these precious jet engines that we must protect, even though they don't really exist. But they can exist in our minds. We will do a flight maybe just directly up, since I want to get to the point. We can also check our progress of how badly or well I positioned the parachutes from here. Quite a nice sight. So let's get to it. So I have to have the trim all the way back. The wheels will actually come off in quite a dramatic fashion the moment that we take off. Have this ready, and I've got the power, and I'm gonna have to do a lot of work with this trim, because this plane is very finicky upon takeoff. We will get I accidentally clicked drop gear, so we're gonna restart. But that proves that works. Okay, gonna restart the plane. Probably not the best location for that, but why not? Who cares? Just drop me into the FAA and see what happens. So, we're gonna ease it forward, have the trim all the way back. We're gonna be on the rudder a little bit. The moment we see the wheels have sunlight underneath, we are going to go and drop the gear, and that removes a heap of extra weight from us, and now we are a plane without all the baggage. And we also have shortened our options for the runway. We can I have the trim down to very little. Just working out where our sweet spot is. Trim is right in the middle. For some reason, this plane is well balanced with very little trim, which is a good sign. So now we are going way faster than a plane of this design should ever go. I'm going to keep us kind of facing north, but I'm going to go and do a slow ascent, because that's the opposite of what a descent is. And we were going to feel like a rocket for a second, but we are totally not a rocket. Turn us around. It's going to show that we're facing north. Remove a bit of the trim. Keep the eye in the middle. We're now at this point. Our altitude is 80,000 feet now. And these engines are not at full speed. We have missed out on some potential. That's okay, because this is all a test. I want to watch our airspeed get quite low. I'm going to cut the power. Going to go to... wrong one. Should have done this before. We'll go this one because this is my video. I do what I want. Trying to get the other part. We're going to go and release. I wanted to get a more of a dramatic view, but that goes to show how much air is there. So that is going to hopefully orientate itself correctly while we get to our apogee. I don't know what they've called this world. They wonder if they actually named the world in simple planes, because I seem to go out of this world a lot, even though we have not reached space. We are basic. Richard Branson would be so proud of us right now. I'm going to get my speed rag out, and this will orientate us in the correct way for when we do get some coherency within our speed. Hopefully we'll get past the parachute and get a nice close up to the parachute. Give you an idea of how much speed there is. We are dropping quite fast. I might actually put a to-do list and make my parachute on this a little bit smaller so we go faster, which will actually help in the orientation and the immediate ability to get it down properly. Okay, I'm seeing the ground here, so I'm just juggling all this at once. I'm trying to watch that, not really watching that, kind of watching that, more watching the ground and seeing where we're going, because unfortunately I can't get that mod to remove this fog of unknown. And I'm gonna take away when we start to see that move, I'm gonna take away this, and we're gonna zip past the parachute. Hopefully on the way to the runway. I believe the runway is there, but I've been wrong before. I'm seeing a volcano, so we've travelled. Get rid of that speed rag, use some trim, and try to keep us level, because if we get into a spin, we need to use the gyro. And using the gyro is something that I consider last resort, and I consider it borderline cheating. We have it, we don't want to use it. So I'm going to catch up to the parachute, and I'm going to see where we're going to land. This plane does not necessarily need a runway. I believe we're landing over there. Okay, this plane does not necessarily need a runway, but we can gain some oscillation. Alright, that's as close as I'm willing to go. Oh, well, it's not the volcano, that's fine. I know where we're going to land. We can either land on the aircraft carrier, which would be a good attempt, but if I fail, then this video is pretty much lost. Or we can land on the runway. What do? Exciting content, boring runway. So when we land, struggling YouTuber, I'm going to take the risk. When we land on the runway if you call it that, when we join up with the better boats, because out back there it's going to turn into a boat. When we land, this is a heck of a way to be transported from there to there. But this reminds me of all the governments in the world and their spending. It's a pretty good analogy, actually. Let's go all the way around up into space just to get to point B. That is just my observation, not an opinion. And I am entitled to be wrong. If you hear a big air conditioner in the background, it's actually because I'm trying to simulate this. It is cold as anything here in Australia, in the Badlands of Australia. We have snow everywhere. And what I just said was a total lie. It is in some places where we are, it got halfway to boiling. Landing on a moving target. So when I see our crashing zone, I've actually got to account for the fact that that runway is actually moving, and then I can. Luckily, it gives us the gift of about, I think it's about 15 knots, which is not much, but everything counts for this triplane. See three wings triplane. You can kind of see them. They're gonna wonder what hit them. All right. Of course, I call this the space chicken because it has a gliding ratio of a chicken, and I measured that through scientific research. There is a story behind it. People do know it's funny, but I'm not saying that too much because I don't want people to be annoyed. And that chicken has gone along. She's still alive. She's older, but she's still happy. She's just pecking at the ground at my house all the time. Okay, so now here's where we got to focus. I'm going to use both trim as well as my, I was going to say collective, long as well as my yoke in sync, and that we can really notice the speed difference between landing on the runway. Let's get over that. That was too easy. Okay. Well, I appreciate you watching the video. Please like and subscribe and everything all in between while I go and touch every part of my control surface from my seat. This is a plane with a seat strapped onto it. If you want to donate money to this channel, it helps me get the stuff to make this. Feel free to drop me a coffee, and I appreciate everyone here. Thanks for watching if you got this far.